Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'll start tomorrow," only to realize weeks or months have passed and nothing has changed? It's like standing still in a crowded room, thinking you're moving forward, but you're not getting any closer to the door. You convince yourself that there's always time, but in reality, life is slipping by, unnoticed, like sand through your fingers. In this video, we're uncovering 8 signs that you might be wasting your life without realizing it, like cracks hidden beneath the surface, waiting to eventually catch up to you. We'll explore why this happens and how you can take control before time slips away completely. Let's stop letting life pass us by and start living with purpose. Let's begin. Number 1, you're always waiting for the right time. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'll start when the timing is perfect"? It's a comforting excuse, isn't it? But here's a curious thought. What if the right time never comes? Life doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It's messy, unpredictable, and always in motion. If you keep waiting for everything to align, you might wake up one day realizing that time has passed you by, and the life you dreamed of is still out of reach. Waiting for the perfect moment is like standing at a train station, hoping for a train that doesn't exist. You hear the announcements, feel the vibrations of other trains passing by, but you never get on board because none feel quite right. The Stoics understood this dilemma. They believed in acting within the circumstances you're given, not waiting for the stars to align. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." So why do we hesitate? Fear of failure, rejection, or not being good enough. It's easier to imagine a flawless future than to confront the messy realities of today. But here's the catch. Every moment spent waiting is a moment lost forever. Life isn't going to hand you a golden ticket. You have to create your own opportunities. Think of time as a flowing river. If you're waiting for the water to stop moving so you can cross safely, you'll be stuck on the shore forever. Let's consider a story. There was once a farmer who dreamed of planting an orchard. Every year he'd tell himself, "I'll start next spring when the weather is perfect." But spring came and went, and his orchard remained just a dream. Years later, he looked at his barren land, realizing that had he planted his trees when he first thought of it, he'd be enjoying the shade and fruit by now. The lesson? The best time to start was years ago. The second best time is today. So how do you break free from the trap of waiting? Start small. Whatever it is you've been delaying, take the first step, even if it's imperfect. Write the first page of that book, send that email, or begin that fitness journey. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about momentum. The Stoics teach us that action cures fear. Once you begin, you'll realize that the right time is simply an illusion. Remember, life rewards the bold, not the hesitant. Don't let the river of time carry you away while you stand on the banks waiting. Jump in, face the current, and start swimming toward the life you want. Number 2, chasing temporary pleasures. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how much you indulge in those fleeting moments of joy, you still feel unfulfilled? Maybe it's that late-night binge of your favorite snacks or endless hours scrolling social media, promising quick happiness but leaving you emptier than before. Why does this happen? Because temporary pleasures are like sandcastles built at the edge of the sea, beautiful for a moment but inevitably washed away. Chasing temporary pleasures feels harmless, even necessary in the moment. After all, life is hard, and who doesn't deserve a break? But here's the catch. These short-lived joys come at a cost. They drain your time, energy, and focus, leaving you further from the life you truly want. The Stoics warned us about this. They believed that fleeting desires often distract us from cultivating lasting happiness. Seneca once said, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach." Yet instead of reaching inward, we grab at the nearest shiny object, hoping it will fill the void. Think of these pleasures as cotton candy, sweet and tempting but ultimately hollow. You take a bite, and it dissolves instantly, leaving you with nothing substantial. Social media likes, late-night snacks, or shopping sprees might give you a quick hit of dopamine, but do they bring you closer to a meaningful life? Stoic philosophy teaches us to prioritize what truly matters: virtues, growth, and peace of mind. Temporary pleasures, on the other hand, act as detours, pulling us away from this path. Here's a story to illustrate this. Imagine a farmer who spends all his time decorating his barn instead of planting seeds. Every day he admires the bright colors and polished wood. But when harvest season comes, he finds his fields barren. This is what happens when we chase temporary pleasures instead of investing in long-term fulfillment. Life rewards the farmer who plants, nurtures, and waits, not the one distracted by surface-level beauty. So, how do you shift your focus from the fleeting to the fulfilling? Start by recognizing the patterns. The next time you're tempted to reach for that quick fix, whether it's a new gadget or hours of streaming, pause and ask yourself, will this matter a week from now, a year from now? Redirect your energy toward activities that nourish your mind and soul. Try reading a book, spending time with loved ones, or working on a skill that challenges you. These are the seeds that grow into a bountiful life. Remember, life isn't a race to collect fleeting highs. It's a journey of creating lasting memories and achievements. Let go of the sandcastles, pick up the seeds, and start building something that stands the test of time. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to like it. It'll take you less than 2 seconds and it'll put a big smile on my face. Number 3, you avoid challenges. Have you ever stood at the edge of a decision, staring into the unknown and thought, what if I fail? It's a common feeling, but here's a question worth pondering. What if avoiding challenges is the real failure? Life isn't meant to be a smooth, paved road. It's more like a mountain trail, steep, rocky, and full of obstacles. And yet, it's the climb that transforms you, not the view at the top. Avoiding challenges might feel like self-preservation, but it's actually self-sabotage. Imagine a ship that never leaves the harbor. It avoids storms, sure, but it also never fulfills its purpose of exploring the vast ocean. Similarly, by dodging challenges, you might keep yourself safe from discomfort, but you also rob yourself of the chance to grow. Stoic philosopher Seneca put it perfectly. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Think about it. Challenges are the weights you lift in the gym of life. Each one strengthens you, builds resilience, and reveals your potential. But when you avoid them, you stagnate. Just like a river that doesn't flow turns into a swamp. The Stoics believed that adversity is not something to fear, but an opportunity to refine your character. Marcus Aurelius urged us to see obstacles as the way forward, not barriers to success. Here's a story to bring this to life. A young sculptor was given a block of marble that seemed flawed, full of cracks and imperfections. Frustrated, he considered rejecting it, but his mentor advised, "The flaws will guide your chisel. Embrace them, and you'll create something extraordinary." Reluctantly, the sculptor began. Over time, the cracks transformed into beautiful veins in the marble, adding character and depth to his masterpiece. The lesson? Challenges are like those cracks. They might seem daunting, but they're what shape you into something extraordinary. So how can you stop running from challenges and start embracing them? Begin by shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing difficulties as threats, view them as teachers. When you face a tough situation, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How will this make me stronger? Start small. Take on one challenge you've been avoiding, whether it's a tough conversation, a new skill, or a physical goal. With each victory, your confidence will grow, and so will your courage. Life's greatest rewards are hidden behind its hardest tests. Avoiding challenges might keep you comfortable, but it won't make you fulfilled. So step into the storm, face the friction, and let it polish you into the gem you're meant to be. Number 4, procrastinating on your dreams. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'll start when the time is right," or "I'll begin once everything aligns perfectly"? It's a comforting excuse, isn't it? But here's a question you might not want to hear. What if the right time never comes? Life doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It's messy, unpredictable, and constantly moving forward. If you keep waiting for everything to fall into place, you might wake up one day realizing that time has slipped away, and the dreams you've been putting off are still out of reach. Procrastinating on your dreams is like waiting for the perfect wave while standing on the shore. You see others riding the waves, you feel the excitement in the air, but you never catch the wave because you're waiting for the perfect one to come. The truth is, the perfect wave doesn't exist. The Stoics understood this reality. They believed in taking action no matter the circumstances, because waiting for perfection is a trap. As Seneca wisely said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Every moment spent waiting is a moment you'll never get back. So why do we procrastinate on our dreams? Fear of failure, fear of making the wrong move, or fear that we're just not ready. It's easier to wait for a future that looks flawless in our minds than to confront the messiness of today. But here's the catch. Every moment you delay is a moment you'll never regain. Life doesn't give you a golden ticket. It gives you time, and it's up to you to decide how you use it. Think of time as a river that's always flowing. If you're waiting for the water to stop moving before you cross, you'll never get across. Imagine a man who dreamed of building a house. Every year he'd say, "I'll start next year when I have more money, more resources, more time." And every year he put it off. One day, years later, he stood on the empty land he'd once dreamed of building on, realizing that had he started when he first thought of it, he could have had a house, a life, a future. The lesson: the best time to start was years ago. The second best time is now. So, how do you break free from this cycle of procrastination? You start small. Whatever it is you've been putting off, take the first step, no matter how imperfect. Write that first sentence of the book, sign up for the class, apply for the job. Progress is not about perfection, it's about momentum. The Stoics taught us that action cures fear. Once you take that first step, you'll realize that waiting for the perfect moment is nothing more than an illusion. Remember, life doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards action. Don't let time slip through your fingers while you wait for the right moment. Take a deep breath, jump in, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Because the truth is, the best time to start is now. If you've watched the video this far, make sure to comment "Thank God" to let us know you're with us. Number 5, comparing yourself to others. Have you ever caught yourself scrolling through social media or listening to others talk about their achievements and thought, "Why isn't my life like that?" You see someone else's success, their seemingly perfect life, and suddenly you're questioning your own worth. It's a trap many of us fall into, and it's dangerous. Because here's the harsh truth. Measuring your worth against someone else's life is a surefire way to feel dissatisfied, no matter how much you've accomplished. Think about it. Comparison is like trying to run a race with someone else's pace. While they're running their own race, you're stuck staring at their progress, measuring every step they take against your own. It's a race you can never win because, in truth, you're not competing with them. You're competing with yourself. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. They knew that true contentment comes from within, not from looking at others. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. When you stop measuring your success by others' standards, you free yourself from constant dissatisfaction. So why do we compare ourselves to others? It's easy. Society teaches us to measure success based on what we see around us, someone else's house, job, relationship, lifestyle. The problem is, this comparison only leads to discontent. It makes you believe that your worth is tied to external achievements, to how much better or worse you are than someone else. But here's the catch. Your worth isn't determined by others, it's determined by you. Imagine a gardener who looks at his neighbor's garden, comparing his plants to theirs, feeling frustrated because his garden doesn't seem as beautiful. What he fails to see is that every garden has its own unique beauty, and his effort is what makes his garden special, not someone else's. The same goes for your life. Your journey, your progress, and your success are uniquely yours, and no one else's path can define them. So, how do you break free from the habit of comparison? The first step is to focus inward. Reflect on your own progress, no matter how small it seems. Celebrate the victories you've achieved in your own life, and recognize that your path is your own. Progress isn't about outshining others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Another step is to limit your exposure to comparison triggers. Take a break from social media or environments that make you feel inadequate. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who encourage you to grow at your own pace, rather than make you feel like you're falling behind. And remember, your journey isn't a race, and your value isn't measured by anyone else's success. As the Stoics taught, true happiness comes not from comparing your life to others, but from accepting your life as it is and focusing on making it the best it can be. The next time you feel the pull of comparison, take a step back. Smile and remind yourself you're running your own race and you're exactly where you need to be. Number 6, overindulging in distractions. Have you ever spent hours scrolling through your phone, watching one video after another, or diving into endless entertainment, only to realize that the day has slipped away? It feels harmless at first, just a few minutes here and there. But over time, these distractions add up, stealing precious hours from your life. And before you know it, the things that truly matter, the dreams, the goals, the growth, are pushed aside, and you're left wondering where all that time went. We live in a world full of distractions, constantly pulling us in every direction. Social media, TV shows, video games, endless news updates. It's all designed to keep our attention. But here's the truth. Overindulging in distractions is a fast track to wasted time. Every minute spent mindlessly scrolling or binge-watching is a minute you'll never get back. It's easy to justify it. Just one more episode, or I'll catch up later. But this endless cycle only leads to dissatisfaction and regret. The Stoics warned us about the dangers of mindless indulgence. They understood that time is our most valuable asset. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." The Stoics didn't waste time on empty distractions. They focused on what truly mattered, living intentionally, cultivating wisdom, and making the most of each moment. The more time we spend on distractions, the further we drift away from our true purpose. So why do we fall into this trap? It's simple. Distractions provide instant gratification, a temporary escape from reality. But that escape doesn't last. When the screen goes dark or the video ends, we're left feeling unfulfilled. And yet, we go back for more, because we're avoiding the deeper work, whether it's focusing on our goals, improving ourselves, or simply being present in the moment. The truth is, distractions are a way to numb ourselves from the uncomfortable, but in doing so, we rob ourselves of the time we need to grow. The solution is to become aware. Start by limiting your distractions. Set boundaries for how much time you spend on entertainment and social media. Replace those mindless habits with activities that add value, reading, exercising, or working toward your goals. Remember, every small step you take away from distractions is a step toward a more meaningful life. The next time you feel the urge to scroll or binge watch, take a pause. Ask yourself, is this adding to my life, or is it stealing my time? Time is precious. Don't let distractions rob you of it. Number 7, avoiding hard conversations. Have you ever found yourself avoiding a difficult conversation, telling yourself, I'll deal with it later, or it's not that important? At first, it seems easier to stay silent, to let the tension simmer rather than face uncomfortable truths. But here's the thing. Dodging hard conversations doesn't make the issues go away. It only lets them fester, creating unresolved problems that build up over time. We all know those conversations, the ones that make us feel vulnerable, exposed, or anxious. Whether it's addressing a conflict with a loved one, speaking up at work, or confronting someone about their behavior, these conversations are uncomfortable, to say the least. So we avoid them. We hope that things will sort themselves out, or we try to bury our feelings, convincing ourselves that ignoring the problem is easier than confronting it. But here's the catch. Avoiding these hard conversations doesn't solve anything. In fact, it only makes matters worse. The issues that we push aside don't vanish. They grow in silence, often becoming bigger and more complicated than they ever were in the beginning. What started as a small misunderstanding can turn into a major conflict, all because we didn't take the time to address it head-on. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. The longer we avoid the difficult conversations, the more we allow them to control us. So why do we avoid these conversations? Fear. Fear of confrontation, fear of being misunderstood, or fear of damaging a relationship. It's easy to let fear dictate our actions, but that fear only keeps us stuck. The truth is, avoiding meaningful communication keeps us from moving forward. It keeps us in a cycle of unresolved issues and missed opportunities for growth. The Stoics understood the value of facing challenges with courage and honesty. They believed that true strength came from addressing discomfort, not running from it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very things we fear are often the path to greater understanding and resolution. So how do you break free from the habit of avoiding tough conversations? The first step is to acknowledge that discomfort is a part of life. Rather than avoiding it, lean into it. Approach the conversation with honesty, respect, and a willingness to listen. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do need to be open to communication. Remember, avoiding hard conversations doesn't protect you from pain, it prolongs it. The sooner you face the issues, the sooner you'll find resolution. Life isn't about avoiding discomfort, it's about embracing it and growing stronger through it. The next time a tough conversation arises, take a deep breath and step into it. You'll be amazed at the clarity and peace that come from speaking your truth. Number 8, dwelling on the past. Have you ever found yourself replaying a past mistake over and over again in your mind? Maybe it was a missed opportunity, a conversation you regret, or a decision you wish you could take back. The more you dwell on it, the more you feel stuck, unable to move forward. But here's the truth. Constantly reliving the past does more harm than good. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of regret and prevents you from embracing the present moment, where true growth happens. The past is like a shadow. No matter how much you try to fix it, it's behind you, out of your reach. And yet, it has this uncanny ability to follow you, pulling you back every time you try to move forward. The more you focus on what you could have done differently, the less energy you have to create the future you want. As the Stoics taught, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Our minds tend to replay the past, creating a story of regret and self-blame. But this story only exists in our minds, not in the reality of the present. Why do we keep dwelling on past mistakes? Often it's because we haven't fully accepted them. We want to change what's already done, to rewrite history in a way that makes us feel better. But here's the harsh truth. You can't change the past. What you can change is your perspective on it. Every mistake, every failure, and every regret is a lesson in disguise. The Stoics believed that the key to growth lies not in what has happened, but in how we choose to respond to it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Your growth isn't determined by the past, it's determined by what you do in the present moment." So how do you stop dwelling on the past and start focusing on the present? The first step is to practice acceptance. Accept that the past is behind you and that you cannot change it. Shift your focus to the present moment where you have the power to take action and make different choices. Instead of asking, "What if I had done this differently?" ask, "What can I do today to move forward?" Remember, growth happens in the here and now. The next time you catch yourself dwelling on past mistakes, take a deep breath and bring yourself back to the present. You can't undo what's already done, but you can choose to learn from it and use it as fuel to propel you forward. Life is happening right now. Don't let the past steal your future. If any of the points resonated with you, be sure to comment, "Thank God I learned it," to share your thoughts and let us know how it connected.